thanks Greg and the rest of the team here for inviting me. For me, this is a hometown kind of play, so it's kind of my backyard. Normally, as you probably recall as well, traveling to events like this, it's like flying and all those things. For me now, it's just a drive of like 10, 15 minutes. So really great to be here. I'm Christiaan Brinkhoff. I'm part of the Windows Cloud Experiences team in Microsoft that owns AVD and Windows 365 and RDS. And as well, very closely working together with Windows and Intune and other things around Intune Suite that we just announced. So very great to be here. I'm going to go over the roadmap as well as some demos, as well as some explanation about the product, maybe perhaps, and maybe as well Happy New Year. I'm not sure that still applies, but after 2 weeks, but wish you a good year, lots of great stuff, technology, community, etc. And before I start, I would like to ask everybody, like, who's already familiar with Windows 365, like using it? POC?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so I'm not going like give a very deep pitch on hey what's the product and such then, but I touched briefly on the differences in terms of that, and of course the announcement. And I will not do a dance like this that Bill Gates and Steve did in 1995 for Windows 95. But the interesting thing that I always kind of think is resonating with what happened here in 1995 was an evolution in like an operating system that introduced a start menu and everything new still today, right, on 11 and then a cloud PC too. The evolution of like physical to cloud PCs as well as similar kind of movement. And there are things happening in Microsoft in the company right now that really makes Windows 365 a similar shift of how Office moved to Office 365 and Exchange Online. And I always recall this because I don't know, this is always kind of sitting in the back of my brain. It's a fun video. I presented that at a keynote in Germany, and it's streamed on a German television. If you see in the corner, if you know, so it's kind of funny to do it during a keynote as well. Just a quick reminder. So we got named as a leader at Microsoft in terms of AVD on Windows 365 as the Gartner new Magic Quadrant for Desktop as a Service. This is a great thing because, as you can see, all those other players here have been around for a while. Like some have been around for like 3 decades and such, like Citrix, VMware. And we are only around like for like 4 years or 4.5-ish years with those 2 products. So huge dedication, as well as an acknowledgement on our roadmap. So Gartner came to campus to Redmond. I did like the guidance of them as a roadmap to 2 gentlemen. And after like 2 months, 3 months, it got silent, and then they released this quadrant, and we were very happy seeing this. And one of the main reasons is the ability to integrate with Windows, Intune, Microsoft 365, and Azure, so have that whole package of all those services coming together was really that key differentiator against other partners and other products and solutions in market that do similar customer service offerings too. So moving forward, just to highlight a little bit the scenarios for Windows 365. Of course, data security, pretty equal to VDI virtualization in the past, like streaming a desktop is secure because data is not leaving behind. We see that as well for Windows 365. Capacity, bring your own PC or bring your own device. You see a huge shift in that as well since COVID. More and more bring your own device scenarios are popping up for Windows 365, as well as mergers and acquisitions. Probably bring your own device and mergers and acquisitions are the 2 main scenarios we see as a starter for customers. So what we see a lot is that customers are like looking for use cases. They start with a smaller one or with a mergers and acquisition use case, and then they expand to larger amounts or office workers, knowledge workers, information workers as well. So that's really saying something about the technology. So you come in, you get confident about the technology, and then you do it on a larger scale in your company as well. Temporary workforces, high capacity computing. We support GPU SKUs now on Cloud PC as well. That's a long awaited feature. So you can now present Cloud PCs with GPUs for Photoshop, Revit, SolidWorks, AutoCAD, all those applications as well. And we are making the GPU capacity more affordable as well in the future. So right now it's still at high capacity, like HPC kind of machine attached to your cloud PC. In the future, imagine as well that we make GPUs available for all SKUs as well, and do some certain offloading there as well to make like on-demand GPU scaling possible too. But that's kind of that sweet spot that we have in leveraging Azure as a backend to make kind of that elasticity, elastic VMs is what we call it, external or on the external backend as a service, to make like up and down scaling in terms of cloud computing possible. So that's kind of the direction you should think of, and I will touch base more on that in just a bit. Besides like data security, finance sector, we have a lot of presence with banks, for example. We just signed a deal with ING, but we are working on other customers as well. In Germany, for example, the big banks are using Windows 365. Lego is using Windows 365 for the remote workers and designers and Mac users as well. So we have lots of enterprises using Windows 365. You see it growing and growing, especially in the modernization of VDI to Windows 365. So you really consolidate in Intune. You have the similar Intune console you have for your physical PCs, for your cloud PCs. They're very familiar. But as well, to solve the challenge, you probably are very familiar with that, with the VDI team as well, the on a desktop team, separate teams, don't talk with each other, to bring it all to one team. And have Intune, that single pane of glass, doing your physical and your cloud PC, then your mobile devices and everything in one console. Then we have, of course, Azure Virtual Desktop as well. And I hear a lot of questions sometimes, hey, what are the differences between Windows 365 and Azure Virtual Desktop? And this outlines it a little bit. Of course, there are way more differences in terms of features and such that we built for the two products, but Windows 365 is really what we see as a SaaS solution. So it's a SaaS-based offering that's fixed price. It's all kind of bundled as one solution altogether, end-to-end with Intune. Azure Virtual Desktop is within Azure servers, so you still need to spin up an Azure subscription, manage the environment yourself, do like benchmark testing, scaling testing, find a monitoring solution, find a solution for application publishing separately, or use Autopatch. So this really requires that you still have that VDI kind of expertise in your team. So this is a great solution if you come from VDI and you want to kind of optimize to go to cloud-based VDI. And Windows 365 is really what we see the future of Windows. So making Windows cloud connected, integrating Windows as unique features to Windows 365 as well. What you see here, for example, is Windows 365 boot and switch, that are two features that I've been leading as part of my PM role in the organization, are unique to Windows 365. So you don't get those with AVD, because we really see those as unique Windows integrated features that you can use from like the Windows 11 shell to go straight into your cloud PC, or switching between the two, physical and cloud PC back and forth. I have demos for that as well in just a bit. Win 365 fixed price AVD is pay as you go. So that sounds very affordable or very much cheaper than Windows 365. Sometimes we really see a lot of customers starting with AVD from the cost savings perspective, and then after like the POC and the implementation, it turns out that they pay even more than Windows 365 because the environment scales, and doing power management with multi-session is also hard, because if there's one user left on one machine, you need to keep it running, otherwise you need to force the user to log off for cost savings. And session roaming is still not possible. So this is just a high-level view. Of course, everything Windows 365 is Intune based, so very familiar devices, provisioning Windows 365 and Intune, and you can do everything you need. Where Azure Virtual Desktop needs the Azure portal, most likely as well monitoring solution, or other management solution. Yeah, so all kinds of different portals that makes it complex for managing and maintaining that. But some customers really prefer and like that, and maintain that expertise in the business and the flexibility there. So we have a mixture between customers that use Windows 365 for more like a simplification, future kind of modernization perspective, and as well AVD for like remote apps or something that Windows 365 doesn't support. We are investigating to bring maybe remote app in certain ways as well to Windows 365. So stay tuned maybe for that. I'm interested as well if there's need for your business potentially for something like that. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a quick question. So I'm Ashok. I'm from pre-sales security side from Microsoft. I sell Defender. So on AVD side, I know Defender for Endpoint supports non-persistent VDIs and this can be installed. But based on your experience, how is the integration? Like, have you seen large-scale customer implementation on AVDs on the Defender products like Defender for Endpoint or whatnot?
Yeah, it's a good question. Most of our customers are in Defender. In the AVD area, like Windows 365 is made mostly Defender for Endpoint, just to say it's physical. You see that shift as well. Most customers want to get rid of that third party and just go, Microsoft security stack all in. For AVD, it's still a little bit of a mixture, but we see that same move happening there too. And so there are some documentation. So you probably know Paul Albrecht. He's in the Defender for Endpoint team, and he has written some documentation on how to use Defender on an open system. I can point you to that as well if you would like. But it's all supported. It's more like sometimes customers use an image and products that they are familiar with, or the security team signed up for that and they don't want to change it, and then you need to implement it as well. But we see definitely that move from the non-persistent VDI side as well to Defender.
Okay, that makes sense. I had one customer, they were using AWS app streams and we are trying to move them to AVD with Defender. So we had some conversations in terms of like supportability and whatnot. So that's why I just wanted to bring this up.
Yeah, so from an app streaming perspective, like all those apps run technically just on the machine as well, right? It's just the shell is being translated to just the app versus the Explorer. So that can use the same kind of implementation. It's more the part that, hey, if you want to pop up like, hey, what's the scanning status or something, motors cannot do that. So you need to put it in a more lightweight fashion. It should not be an issue. You can ping me as well. Right?
Yeah, I'll ping you because I have a customer who is kind of evaluating AVD versus AppStream with Defender. Maybe I'll just talk to you for half an hour. So.
I come from a virtualization background myself. So before I was part of the Windows 365 team at AVD, and before that I was like a VDI architect, like a freelancer. I worked for Projects as well. You might know Projects as a profile container solution for AVD, and that got me into Microsoft eventually. So, so I can tell and I have a lot of relationships that can help you going forward. So I can here too.
Yeah, so you were mentioning on AVD for that last user that's sitting on your session host that there isn't support for session roaming yet to bleed them off to something else. Is that on the roadmap?
Yeah, well, that has been on the roadmap for probably 20 years. It's a holy grail.
Have you cracked that case yet?
Well, it's still desired to build something like that. So technically it's still in the roadmap, but it's just a hard cookie to crack.
Yeah.
So what we are having right now in Azure is hibernation, but that's more from a single session kind of personal desktop perspective. So when you turn it off, it saves the state of your RAM to the disk, and then when you boot it up, it puts it back in, and that creates that kind of session roaming experience for personal desktops. But for multi-session, you talk about a different. You can do hibernation here too, but that doesn't really help the user to stay productive at the time that he or she needs that session, right? So now to shortly answer your question, yes, it's still part of the roadmap, but it's hard to crack, and probably I don't see it happening. So there are some other initiatives like hibernation, offline mode, for example, that are sitting more in a productivity angle that are things that are more invested in right now. Okay, let's move forward and show some demos, because I think I talked a lot about like the provisioning of the products and differences, but I think it's important to kind of act on level set a little bit. So here you see the vision presented by Satya when we announced Windows 365 and Inspire. And this is a very interesting and as well important quote, because this really defines the product roadmap moving forward and how you should think about the two products in a separated kind of integrated experience. And as well the investments we do around Windows and the future of Windows. So with Windows 365, we created a new category, the Cloud PC. The Microsoft never did that before, creating a new category next to the PC category. So the Cloud PC and the uppercase C is kind of a special thing in Microsoft in marketing. So it really is a trademark, kind of in Microsoft, meaning it's the PC equivalent, but then in the cloud. And I'm bringing the system to the cloud for the first time. And then stream the full Windows experience to any device. And here you can think of it as Windows computer computer or computers with Azure computing, meaning that the Azure backend will integrate seamlessly in your physical PC. So you will see more and more developments. Of course, Copilot AI is a big thing right now. You've heard a lot of things probably of that product stack. The other part is how can we integrate AI and offload, create streaming experience in Windows to your local device from your cloud PC and create that physical PC and a cloud PC as one solution together. And right now it's still a separate thing. You can have Windows 365 boot on your Windows 11 device, boot straight in, but it's still a separate device that you need to manage. And it feels still a little bit separate for the IT admin as just like not completely consolidated as one solution. That's kind of direction you should think about if you're investing in. And I cannot share that much about it, but I will talk between the lines a little bit to share a little bit of that vision of what to expect next after, like all those great features you have seen, like what is the next kind of big thing for Windows and Windows 365. So here's a roadmap in terms of all the features we recently announced and released. I'm not going through all of these. So here are a couple of new features, Windows 365, boot and switch. I will show some demos in just a bit about those experiences. Frontline is an interesting one because Frontline is our reflection and modernization of multi-session in Windows 365, meaning that you can have one license and provision 3 cloud PCs for kind of 1.4 1.4 of the price of normally paying for 3 licenses separately. So it's a little bit more than just half or divided by 3, but it's definitely cheaper and it gives you that personal Windows 365 experience, that personal kind of a Windows desktop experience. And it creates a cost-effective business case for you as well if you come from multi-session and you move to Windows 365. We are also working on new features for Frontline to create non-persistency in Windows 365. So what if you're logging off of your Frontline cloud PC, that you can wipe your disk and clean it all up? So from the finance sector perspective, there are things that we have seen, like Windows 365 is awesome, but it's still persistent. From a security perspective, we want to kind of wipe that thing, just like Citrix has been doing for us too. So we are working on that as well, just to help building use cases as well that are like not creating the complexity of VDI, but creating the security benefits and other things from VDI in a more modern way as part of Windows 365. Some highlights here. An Intune suite that's now supported with Windows 365. We're talking just a bit about that as well. So EPM and other things. Let's just walk through the demos. Maybe one more thing is we support Citrix and VMware as well. So there's lots of energy around moving from like a Citrix or VMware to like Microsoft product right now, and knowing the acquisitions that happened and some changes there. So customers are really requesting for, hey, how can I move to APD or Windows 365 and how does that work? We also have Windows 365 and VMware and Citrix partnerships, what means that you can use the Citrix VDA agents on top of a cloud PC and then keep using your existing Citrix clients. But then you can migrate to Windows 365, for example, very easy and seamlessly. And you can flip that off as well. So you have a toggle in Intune in the tenant administration partner connectors. And then if you remove the toggle, we will automatically remove the Citrix agent, and then you can go for native as well. So if you have a strategy that you want to go to Windows 365, you cannot do it because there are still some attachments in terms of clients and protocol enhancements to Citrix or VMware. We support that too. So just a quick act on that supportability that we have. And if there is any question in the chat, I cannot see the chat, Greg. Is there anything for me to answer right now? Or
no questions. We did attempt a poll. I'm trying to figure out how I can actually show it up there, but
okay.
People using kind of thing. So
okay.
I'll see if I can share it. But a bit of 365, a bit of AVD, some VMware and Citrix as well. So
okay, great. Thanks for doing that.
Yep.
Now we really would like to share some demos and go a little bit over the experiences that are unique to Windows 365 and highlight kind of that vision in terms of the features and the roadmap. So first of all, we just released Windows 365 in September. It went GA for shared PC scenarios. It's now in public preview for dedicated mode scenarios. So for like Windows Hello and more personal experiences as a reflection from your information worker PC into the cloud. What this does is you type in your username and password to do Windows Hello, and then afterwards boot straight into your cloud PC. So you no longer have to go to a client, click in the client, and then go to your virtualized environment. It goes straight from the logon screen. So that really sits in that kind of simplification layer from like virtualization, as well as a reflection of that physical PC vision that I just highlighted. We really remove the kind of that you have two Windows layers for the end user. You have your physical and then your cloud, and then you need to go from your physical to your client and then go to the cloud. It's very confusing sometimes, and sometimes single sign-on also not works. This really works with single sign-on and works with Hello, so it's passwordless logon supported now too. And we also support shared PC kiosk mode like experiences, meaning that you're a frontline worker, you have like a T client solution or something like that, and then you can just tap in with like YubiKey and then go passwordless in, and then the next shift worker can use the same device.
Good question about that.
Yeah, go ahead.
If I have a cloud native, desktop or laptop, and my user machine is hybrid, how does that work with Hello for Business? Because every time I've tried to configure that, I get a gateway error, and I have to tell the users to go and type their passwords.
Your desktop is probably joint, and then your
And my cloud PC is hybrid.
hybrid. That's a great combo.
That's where we're at.
I need to look into that. I have to be honest that I haven't seen that use case yet, so I can double check it with the team and go back or come back to you in terms of supportability and maybe solve this challenge as well for you. Can you ping me on that, like either LinkedIn or just hit me an email on first.last name and like I'll follow up on it.
Sure.
And we did get one question. What will be the most recent upcoming feature that we can expect from Windows 365?
The most
Recent upcoming. You can choose, I guess.
Yeah, multiple. Like sometimes it's fascinating because sometimes customers are asking, hey, when are you releasing a new feature? But Windows 360, we have been releasing like constant feature because it's a SaaS like product, right? So yeah, multiple, and a couple are on the screen here actually. So the boot dedicated mode with Windows Hello just got announced. So that will go GA February most likely. If all the tests and bugs and everything's fixed, we don't expect many there. And as well, Switch is now supported or is getting the support in GA for Frontline. So if you want to use boot with Frontline, you can use that too. So that efficient licensing model that I just highlighted is supported for boot now. But as well for Switch. And Switch is a feature where you can use the task view. So I'm not sure if you use the task view on the taskbar, or you can create separate desktops if you have. I did it in the past when I was still at school and I played Halo and like local landlord that I could like flip a switch and the mentor didn't see anything. That's awesome. This is the business version of that now. Switch is like in task view that you can switch to your cloud PC. So it creates a similar boot to cloud experience like this after you click on the thumbnail that goes straight into your cloud PC. So it's kind of a hybrid boot to cloud experience that allows you to still use your local Windows 11 PC. So think about bringing on device contractor scenarios where you have your corporate managed cloud PC. You just want to have with for a finger swipe an option to switch to your cloud PC, and it will switch back. So in the cloud PC, if you go to task view, you will see as one option to go to local. So it's kind of a round tripping experience. So very seamless and easy. And that supports now Frontline too. So that's one of the new features. What I think is an interesting one is the one on the right there, which is offline mode. We have been announcing that like a year ago that we are working on it. Expect that to see more visible previews coming up. What that means is that when you work in your cloud PC, including internet connection, where you are in an unreliable go-go Wi-Fi, airport Wi-Fi, or whatever Wi-Fi that is insecure, that you can go offline. We will replicate something to your physical PC. There will be specific specs, of course, if you have let's say a very beefy cloud PC that either you have to be coming close to that, or you have to kind of compromise a little bit. There's always like a resourcing thing there, of course, too. But imagine you have just a normal license of obviously like 2 or 4 gigs of RAM. Pretty much every Windows 11 PC would be supported for that feature. So we are working hard on that because it requires changes on the kernel Windows. We use parts of Hyper-V for it as well. So it takes time, but expect as well that that feature will see more preview opportunities as part of the question. Other features I already highlighted, the enhancements for non-persistent environments. Frontline is colored here as just one of the things that we also think Frontline went in GA in September as well. We just released a new Windows app. The Windows app is the equivalent of the Windows 365 app as well, the RD client, and as well the remote desktop client, or what's the name of that? MSDC, the terminal server, I don't know, remote desktop manager is probably the right naming for that. All consolidated in one app, meaning that you have the Windows app for remote desktop, for Windows 365 and AVD all together now. This is in preview now, public preview, but it really shines from the end user experience across all platforms, meaning this is for Windows, of course, because we own Windows, but as well Mac, for example, and Android is coming, and other platforms are coming too. So imagine that you have one app connecting to Windows, Windows 365, AVD, even RDPing into your physical server or something like that, and get rid of all those legacy apps. So the remote desktop app, as well as the MSDC app. You want to kind of consolidate all those apps and make it easier for you as an IT admin to manage and maintain these applications as well, just agnostically. And we see a huge adoption of this app right now. So it really is going skyrocket, even if it's still in a public preview. And it really sits in the vision of making Windows available anywhere. So from your Mac, from your iPad, doesn't matter. You can connect and go into your Windows 11 PC from anywhere. So if you normally use like a laptop, you're traveling with family, you can use your iPad and just use your same PC experience from an iPad there too. And then last but not least is the enhanced Android experience. This is a cool one because it creates that you have a phone and a desktop in one, meaning that your phone can stream your Windows session via Windows 365. So what we did is we built an integrated experience together with the Android platform team in Microsoft that builds they build an SDK that partners can leverage and build into Android. So it's kind of an inbox SDK from Microsoft that activates when you put a USB-C to HDMI cable in the phone, and then it pops up this menu if you have, of course, a Cloud PC license. And then you can go single sign-on into your Cloud PC from there. So imagine you have a keyboard and mouse, Bluetooth connected, or maybe a docking, and then have like USB mouse keyboard for like a frontline worker. This could be a very good scenario for that. Most likely not for an IT admin every day. You might want to have just kind of more beefy machine or more access to like a local PC as well. But for like frontline workers or maybe not travel a lot, or just have an extra PC for more flexibility across another device form factor. This is a great experience, and it's now available on the Lenovo ThinkPhone from Motorola, but we are talking with multiple other phone suppliers as well. So imagine, of course, we are talking with Samsung and other vendors as well. So once we are ready to close something there, we can easily port what we build for like Lenovo as well to other vendors. It's just Android agnostic, let's say it like that. And the same for iPhone. We get a question a lot since the iPhone 15 that supports USB-C to display as well, and the iPad as well. That works with the Windows app now. So you have the Windows app in the App Store. You can use that, but there are still some modifications needed to make it more easy to use and such. So we are working with Apple to see how fast we can make this kind of an experience on an iPhone with the Windows app combination as well. So, so this is the Windows app couple of screenshots that we have Mac, we have web client, we have iOS, iPadOS, and Windows now. As I said before, Android is also being worked on all the other platforms that are out there for getting a similar experience. The Windows app is available in the store, so you can just go to the store on Windows 11, Windows 10 as well, and download it. Once we are at GA, we also make this app offline available, meaning via repository, because we see a lot of customers still blocking the store completely. There are options to fix that, so you can block users from seeing the apps in the store, but still allow the protocol in the back that we use to push down like store apps. But if you still want to completely block the store, we also make the app available via just a cloud repository, so you can just download the MSIX, put it in Intune, and do your own update management there as well. But that's coming probably in the next 2 months, 2 months or so.
Because if you have Intune, couldn't you just already go ahead and get it
don't
out?
have Intune and you have the store blocked.
But if you have Intune, you have
We
the
don't
store
have
blocked.
Intune. We don't have it.
Oh, got it. Okay, thank you. Yeah.
So
They're big manager people. Okay.
all there is an
Who
Intune.
does that?
No, it's a good question, because in Intune, you have now the new store integration, right? So you can just do it there. Yeah, don't touch it anymore, right? That's of course like what you should do in terms of simplifying the application management. But we also know that customers are not there yet, or there's a legal reason or compliance reason or security reason for not allowing that. And then we bring the app just available for you as well.
Government.
So here is the experience for Windows 365 boot. So here you see a Windows 11 PC cold booting. It's a little bit smooth. Yeah, it is. Here you unlock the screen. This is the shared PC scenario. So username, password, MFA is supported here with YubiKey 2. And then it connects straight into your cloud PC. So you see a new UI experience that we built together with the Windows Shell team. And then you're in your Windows 11 PC. Feels very familiar, just like Windows 11 on a physical PC. But then, of course, with the cloud computing add-on and benefits that you get as part of the service. This is the new branding that we just released in public preview. So what you now can do is add your own company logo and name in there. So what we did is in Intune, I can show that real quick too. And guided flow scenario that we have for boot. So if you go in Intune to the Windows 365 blade, in the middle of it, you see the guided flow scenario for Windows 365 boot. If you click on that, you go into guided flow. And then under settings, we introduced a company name and company logo. This is now in public preview, so it's not in the production guided flow yet, but in the public preview one, it's next to the other one. And then you will see this. So you can put in here, Microsoft Contoso, Alaska Airlines, and then you put your logo in here, and then you will see what you just saw on this screen. For frontline worker shared use case, this is very, very much something that is being used today within client solutions, and we wanted to act on that as well. So very easy to configure, and creates that more customized experience. Then the other part that we introduced now in public preview is dedicated user mode. A shared PC mode is what I just showed you. So when you log off, the next shift worker can use the same PC, very easy username, password. With dedicated user mode, we really introduced the more equivalent experience you have from your laptop. So your avatar is being remembered, Windows Hello is working, all those things that works on your physical Windows 11 PC works as well with this, as well as UBI. So for example, if you provision a PC, you will see the same UBI hello and pin configuration experience that you're familiar with. But then afterwards, when you're done, you can do it in your Windows 365 boot experience. So here you see personal experience, you see hello is being supported here. And then when you are authenticating with hello, it boots straight into the cloud PC. So this is that kind of information worker, kind of equivalent personal experience that you are familiar with, where we see really the modernization of creating a laptop, like let's say a service laptop, to be cloud connected. And you will see more of that coming from, for example, surveys as well, that the Windows app will be kind of pre-baked into a service device, and boot and switch will be easy to configure as part of that too. So this is also something we just released on public preview, which is local settings redirection. So if you use your cloud PC, so you connect via boot into your cloud PC, you can go into your local or your settings and then switch to your local PC settings. So imagine you need to pair a Bluetooth device like a headset or something. You need to then go to the local PC to kind of configure and pair that like headset to your physical PC. And with this new experience, you can easily do that. So you click even local PC settings, and then you can pair your Bluetooth device or other things like display configuration, layout, other things you can do from here. And it feels more immersive and native to like just Windows. And this is now available in public preview for boot and switch. This is also coming to the Windows app. So if you have the Windows app and the latest build of Windows 11, you will see this experience too. That's TBD, but probably somewhere mid this year. Okay, so this is the, let me see, this is the switch feature that I want to highlight real quick too. So here you see a Windows 11 laptop. Let's imagine the latest version of Windows 11. Here you see the task view button. So if you click on that, you'll see task view popping up with different desktop layout. And here you see a cloud PC. So when you click on that, it switches to your cloud PC directly. So it creates that similar boot to cloud experience that I just highlighted. So that you, that's what you see right now. Or this one was already logged in, so then it's faster, as you can see. So it's immediately in your cloud PC. And then in the cloud PC, you can also switch back to the local PC. So this is a round tripping experience to switch between local and cloud. It's just very convenient for bringing on device scenarios. Hotkeys like control windows and then the arrows are supported, swiping on your touchpad, as well as if you have a screen, you can also do it on your screen. And this is the demo we created for Satya. We had a Satya review every quarter. We have a meeting with Satya to kind of review how is the business doing, what are the new features, and this is one of them that we recorded for Satya. So very cool experience, and as I said before, especially in the bring your own device use case.
Quick question
Yes.
from the audience. So for the local settings part of it, does it support the, was it primary audio device, primary microphone device from your local?
Yeah, it does.
So both the default primary and the default communication, if those are separate devices, can it pass both up?
This is a good question. So this new settings feature supports that. So you will see the local settings. What you're asking for is the step next, which is if you go into your cloud PC, that you control like the audio settings immediately on both sides as one. That's something we're working on as well.
Well, what I'm curious is other virtual offerings, typically when they do an audio pass through in, they only pass through as the single default audio device. But if you have a separate communication default, it doesn't have an option to pass that.
Yes. So with this new settings redirections feature, you can go to the local settings and change that all your devices.
Okay, so you'd be able to,
Yes.
you'd be able to pass through two separate devices.
Correct. So what you're asking for is kind of a more, like what is even better is that when you're in your cloud PC, you see them all together in the cloud PC.
Well, no, I'm specifically just asking if it's even possible to pass through more than one device.
Yeah, that's possible with this one. So that will help you. The other part is with Teams redirections, we use a different protocol.
Yeah.
Like we use WebRTC, and then the new one we use SlimCore. So that follows a different pattern, and that already is supporting that. So if you go into your team settings and then change the audio device, you see your different devices there.
Nice.
So what you're asking for is more the Windows device audio settings.
Yeah.
That's something we're working on, but with this new two local settings and cloud settings, we already support that kind of separation. Okay. Offline mode is one of those experiences that I just highlighted as well. What we envision is that we will start with an experience where you can go into the quick settings of Windows 11 and then change your state of your cloud PC to offline mode, and then it switches to offline mode. The North Star here is to go into a state offline, online, depending on your internet connection, all seamlessly, meaning that there's a setting that if you are offline, automatically switch to offline. But we will start first with an intentional switch, meaning that, hey, you know that you're gonna go offline because you're traveling or whatsoever, you click on a button and you're secure. And then after that, we will move to a more like seamless experience there as well. So that's what you just saw here quickly on the screen. So here you see that new quick settings option. And this is something that we envision to build for this experience. So all sitting in that integrated experience, just like boot and switch offer to, but then in terms of offline. So another thing we just released is the new 16 core, 64 gigs SKU. It is probably sits more in the needs from you, Greg, probably, right?
Probably PowerPoint these days, PowerPoint and wiki page.
That one runs Teams, so.
Teams, oh, yeah, your teams.
Google Chrome.
Yeah, different teams.
One of the other things is the GPU SKU. So what you see here is a cloud PC with GPU SKU enabled. You see Adobe Premiere, of course, all the other graphical enhanced applications like video editing work seamlessly as well. One thing to highlight here is that, and this is kind of an interesting one, especially for the gamers, is that with benchmarking, we did some direct benchmarking. You see like the frames per second going over even 200 frames per second. And that's pretty fascinating because your eyeball will not see that, especially not the Teams latency that kicks in here will not like render that through. But the numbers are really good, and that kind of like represents what we can achieve with things that we're doing for xCloud game streaming, which is even more frames per second, like latency sensitive, as well for like streaming windows from the cloud. And imagine as well in the future that we will bring more parts of xCloud together with like game streaming and desktop streaming in terms of technologies that we can do to improve the experience, to really create a native experience, because there are still some gaps we need to fill in terms of redirection. Sometimes some redirection peripherals do not like map up into your cloud PC, and that's something we are working on as well to really create that like, yeah, as good as like Windows works today with peripheral experience in terms of redirections. I see I have 15 minutes left, so it should be about enough time. Yes.
Question for you, just conceptually, is it proper to think that this notion between cloud and local is the instance of the operating system in the cloud persistent on the local device, or are they separate and distinct operating systems?
Yes, good question. So right now there are two separate operating systems to manage. So in Intune, you have your local and your cloud PC separated. And in the future, you will see those two coming closer together. So from a management perspective in Intune, so we can do a good job there to bring them more together as kind of a grouping experience. So we are thinking through that as well. But as well from an operating system integrated experience perspective, meaning that on the endpoint side, we can also change the operating system even more for streaming purposes. So we are also exploring that. So imagine that local cloud and then the like blending comes more and more closer to like one device.
Okay, but today they're separate. It's not a persistent instance that
That's correct.
resides on the local device.
That's correct.
Yeah. So in terms of then, I'm thinking of large enterprise managing local Windows instances. Do you control patching in the cloud? Tell me a little bit
Yes.
about quality and feature updates
Yes.
and
Yeah, it's another good
versus the local side.
So Windows 365 is a SaaS product, as I explained earlier, but what happens inside that cloud PC is still your own responsibility, meaning that patching, you can use Autopatch, of course, and then you can hand over the keys to us and we will do Windows updates, but like application patching and other things, you're still responsible for. We have a service like MMD, you might have heard of that, modern managed Microsoft Managed Desktop, I must say, that does the IT as a service part. But we don't have that offering for Windows 365 yet, but that's something that might come in the future. So if you're looking for complete separation of the infra as well as the management, as well as the IT as a service, like application updates, Windows updates, everything there, that might be something that we are doing in the future, but not right now. So you're still in the need for an IT department to do the patching of your Windows updates. You can use Autopatch for that, simplify that. But Windows apps, so classic apps, not Win32 apps, you still need to do yourself. And that's where kind of Ancient Suite fits in. So Ancient Suite is now in preview and supports the enterprise app management feature. And then you can do hot patching and everything for third-party apps as well. So that might be something to take a look at too.
So set aside the tools, the notion, the idea though is that the cadence or the initiation, what have you, of patching on the cloud instance and the local instance is still at the control of
Or the department,
of course, or the part, whoever the party is. Okay.
Yeah, and to give you an example, like how backwards you can get, if you work for an org that's a little slow, I'm not trying to call myself out, but you could totally put a config manager client on your Windows 365 PC. So you could go into NTN, package up your config man client, install it, and have config manager manage your patches and your application stuff.
Yeah.
Everything that you do for an on-prem PC now. But you don't get the advantages of like for frontline where your device is patching when it's offline. So there's a trade-off because I don't want to take your thunder.
No.
Can you talk about like how frontline patches?
Yeah, so that's the part. That's the part that we are working on. So Frontline will support what you just said, that when it's turned off, that we turn the machine on and do the Windows updates. Most likely, probably in conjunction with Autopatch. So we use the Autopatch service for starting up those devices. When that is coming, I don't know. So I think that's being worked on right now. So that's coming soon. But you're right, like all the modernization we apply to Windows 365, you should follow or use as much as you can. In terms of the patching, Windows patch, application patching, just changing some policies and other things is still Intune based, and you as an IT admin or management administrator need to still do that yourself or the partner. We are still looking at taking something there, like as a managed service, as an extra add-on, but no plans for that right now. So it's kind of based on the market interest for that. So if there's lots of interest from customers, we might go after that as well. But right now we see that the market still asks for either IT department or partner wants to do that for themselves with Autopatch, simplifying Windows updates. And now with the enterprise app management solution for Intune, we can also do third-party app management completely automated based on a new service that we have for like third-party apps. I don't know, Bloomberg, you can download directly and we will take care of your updates for Bloomberg based on your own cadence that you provide in Intune Suite. So that's a new feature that's coming in GA in February or March, if I'm not mistaken.
So what about if you want to use Windows 365 frontline, your cloud PC is off when it's not in use by that user. You have a in-house line of business app, for example, that's like super critical to your business. When the user logs on and they've been on vacation for the last 2 weeks, they have to have the most up-to-date version of that to work. How do you address that scenario?
You mean like when you have been putting your cloud PC offline for the whole holiday or something and then go back online?
So with Frontline, if the user is not logged on to Windows 365 Frontline, it shuts down the PC. Right? So when that PC is shut down, I know I've heard stuff like there's some things going on. So like Microsoft will automatically power me up like every 30 days so I don't lose my domain trust if it's hybrid only or whatever. But I have an application, like I work for an airline. We have an application that all of our gate agents would have to have, for example. That application, when they use that machine, has to be 100% up to date. They might have been gone for a week or two on vacation. They come back. Their cloud PC sees daylight for the first time in 2 weeks. I had a required deployment a week and a half ago to update that app. How do you address that so that when they log in, they have that app up to date?
Yeah, so what we are thinking about is introducing maintenance windows for that. So you can turn machines on automatically on the back based on that cadence. So that's the current thinking to solve things like this. So
Might I add a suggestion when you do that, because we have that on our products. Add an ability for the administrators to run their own scripts on start of that maintenance mode.
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, let the administrator be able to put the actions they want
Starting
to
it
do.
off and assume that the app is auto updated because the auto starts, but it's.
Yeah, like just because maintenance window starts the PC doesn't mean all the maintenance is necessarily going to start.
Yeah, like
So-
some checkpoints or something.
Yeah, give the ability for administrator to say, all right, when you initiate maintenance mode, kick off this script to
That's good,
Go
that's
ahead.
good feedback.
Yeah, and one thing that you can maybe look at for an example on that is orchestration groups and config manager. You've got orchestration groups for managing patching of like highly complex environments, right? You have a pre-script and a post-script. So like you have a pre-script to that orchestration group that runs before anything happens. That orchestration group opens up a maintenance window for a certain order of devices or like a number of devices at one time or a percentage. So if you could have it run a pre-script, do all the stuff that you know you want it to do, and then a postscript. So like if there was something we had to do on either end of it, or if we want to send like an inventory update, so like I'm gonna call out the dude in the back there and a few other people that I know. That like you have a custom inventory solution, for example. You want to have it send out data to that custom inventory solution. So like you've just put all your updates on it. I maybe threw some application updates at it. They're proprietary to my org. Now I wanted to send out that ETF on home saying, hey, this is a current inventory. You know, so I could see a need for that pre-script, but also for that postscript.
Yeah,
That would be really cool.
additional checks to ensure, even though it's not doing start alarms as well afterwards when it's already started or some custom made. kind of-
Yeah.
I think even with like a scripting kind of custom action and approach there, you can capture that in that script as well, potentially. That's kind of the sequence that you build in there. That's good feedback. So I'll make sure that lands to the team that works.
I don't want to say task sequence, but you know, like if you look at that kind of orchestration group mentality, that would be a really cool thing to have for that frontline experience. I didn't call you out, did I?
Oh, I mean, you're exactly right. We're going to push metrics and other stuff to all of our own custom systems. So I mean, as long as the ability to run a pre and post script is there, then that lets us take it into our own hands and do whatever we want.
Yeah, and a lot of orgs have that too. Like I used to think it was just crazy people, but my neighbor has the same thing for the people that he works for. Everyone I talk to, they've got some custom thing that they have that does that.
Okay, well, thanks. We'll make sure that gets.
Maybe I missed this part of the presentation. I was a few minutes late, but you know, what it is and how it works is pretty clear to me. What's the Microsoft answer why? What's the strategic driver behind Windows 365? Is it trying to align with AEM initiatives, strategic initiatives,
That
automated endpoint management, kind of the next phase after UEM and
yeah,
endpoint management? I mean, the term kind of evolves, but.
Yeah.
Or is it the perception that managing the endpoint's just a non-strategic workload that companies ought to free themselves of? What's the driver?
no, it's like, look at like virtualization. I think virtualization started in 1990, 1994 with Citrix terminal services, and there's a market for that. It always has been super complex, costly as well, to purchase that. So translating that kind of equivalent into a Windows integrated experience and simple, that's really where the shift is kind of happening. So we kind of acknowledge and catch up on the market of cloud-based virtualization. And the transition that we see customers using Windows today, like complaining about, hey, my device can only be used 3 years or 5 years, and then I need to throw it away, right? And that's the part that we try to solve. So imagine that there will be devices with longer lifetime, like 7 years, maybe 10 years, depending, of course, how you use your laptop, right? If you throw it to the wall, you can say that's only going to make for 7 years.
processor architecture vulnerability.
No, but imagine, you might have seen surveys, for example, creating devices already that you yourself can repair. So there are like detachable components you can easily order. So from, a sustainability angle, very easy, but as well the cloud connected part of that to create that infinite kind of performance. And that's really the shift from a customer value perspective. And besides that, we also see customers move to Mac more, to iPads, cross-platform, but you still have the need for Windows. So how can you get your apps there? You don't want to invest as a business that uses Windows today and not virtualization. All of a sudden use AVD that introduces all kinds of complexity. So getting that PC-like easiness of management, but as well the benefits of getting those apps to you on other platforms and Windows. We see that as a huge ask and need in market. And that's really the reason why it started. Because when it started, it's an interesting story. Brad Emerson, when he was still around, and Rajesh Jha, which is the EVP of Windows and sort of Office, they came together and they came up with something called the first party virtualization solution. We always went to Citrix. Like, it was always like, if it was virtualization, you go to Citrix or VMware, because we don't do that. That changed completely. So since Satya created a new culture, we really are catching up there. And that created a team that we are kind of part of right now. We are in the Windows organization too. So I report up to Pavan, which is the replacement of Panos that left in Amazon. You might have heard that, which was kind of unfortunate, but that just happens, right? So that means something. So we are part of a business unit in Windows that kind of defines the future of Windows right now. So that's how you should look at Windows. That doesn't mean we will replace Windows today for Windows 365. There will still be a physical PC, physical Windows, probably a little bit more cloud connected, like OneDrive is cloud connected. Other things will probably move more to like a hybrid model, but you will still have that. So it's not that we will push customers to go to Windows 365. It's another option to use Windows 365 based on the use cases that you have. And having that management layer consolidated for physical and cloud PC, then it's not an extra burden on your IT admin department as well to use that technology. And you can use it for merchant acquisitions, for remote workers, your finance customer tellers and other use cases, traders as well. And then at home, you can just take over your session, keep working and do it from home devices and do more with less in terms of your budget. So all kinds of benefits are generated with Windows 365. So that's kind of the strategic angle and the why. And yes, there is as well a part of, hey, we also want to move Windows to more Windows as a service model, just like Office went to the cloud too. Windows has been kind of left behind a little bit. Yeah, of course, the Windows E3 license, but that's not really kind of Windows as a service. So with Autopatch, we also do a part there. So imagine that in the future, you will have more Windows subscription-based orientated services, same as Windows Cloud Backup, for example. We also think through that, like how can we make sure that your Windows PC is always stored in the cloud completely? You can restore it as a cloud PC, for example. Create a like white glove migration service. So all kinds of things to make Windows Cloud connected and make it very easy for you to decide whether you want to stay physically or go to the cloud PC, or a combination of a new device that bundles it all together as well.
I'll throw it out there too. Like I'm proof of concepting it right now to see where it fits in our environment. So like we have VMware Horizon that we are trying to sunset. We have a lot of stuff that's in Citrix. And so it's like trying to figure out where it all comes together. You know, we've been using AVD for a little bit. We're trying to play around with Windows 365. We already have a lot of the homework done. So like we've got the networking piece of it already there for AVD, you know, the resource groups, everything's all kind of there. So like setting up Windows 365 was a couple hours of my time because I had to read the documents. And it took, you know, 5 minutes to set up a provisioning profile for it. And now we're just, you know, you target your apps at it that you want to go to it to just like a normal computer. It's like your investment to get going on it is just super, super small. And to me, that was the appealing part. And if I want to provision a new computer for someone now, all I do is have this, you know, if we go forward with this, the service desk is gonna add someone to a security group. And all of a sudden, they're gonna get a cloud PC that's provisioned for them. You say, go sign into your PC here. And it's just done. And Autopatch will patch it. You manage it just like it's any other computer. So like all these other management systems that you're already consuming, you get. And then there's a ton of added value, like with the performance monitoring that you get on it, which I didn't touch on, but performance monitoring, you can get all that stuff that you would have to pay for if you were using, VMware or Citrix or whatever. You get your performance monitoring, you get your usage logging to see if someone's actually using this thing that you're paying all this money for. You get your restore points. So someone's like, man, I just blew up my computer. Okay, let me take it back a day or two for you. And you get all that. And then if someone just completely tanks their VM, you hit the button that says reprovision and tell them to have a nice day. So like from the admin task, me not having the virtualization background as far as like our people that have done virtualization forever, I can manage it all. I can go in there and hit the buttons to do it, and we don't have to have that highly specialized team that we have. They can focus on more interesting stuff with it. It's just, it's huge from that perspective of the management of it.
And in parts like that, like first of all, the endpoint analytics part is one of those things. Advanced analytics is coming with Agent Suite, so to the next level there as well. But we also go introduce like restore points is one of those features that we have for cloud PCs. You can go back in time if your ransomware. You can just go 7 days back, make restore copies twice a day. You can change that too, very easy. But we also think about maybe introduce parts of that for physical PCs. So what if your physical PC has a small restore point copies that we will store for you in the Windows 365 service? So you're not ready maybe for Windows 365, but you have subsets of services that you build for Windows 365, whereas well Windows 11, and maybe later when you're like ready, you can maybe move. That are things that I'm investigating. So if you're on the CCP of Microsoft, the MCCP community, you will probably see next week's surveys popping up from my side around that. Right, I know, Greg, we are 6 minutes over. You still like 5 minutes from me, I remember.
Yeah, you can go a little bit longer. Take like a 5-minute break before we bring on Mike.
What I can do, let me, I have a couple of things. I'm almost done, so let me give 2 minutes. So we just released data protection, so watermarking is now supported, as well as screen capture detection, and it's now supported in Intune. So the settings catalog, probably all know Mike Danowski. This is his territory, this is his library. So he helped us getting the settings in there, so you can now easily, AVD as well, with Windows 365 to just flip the switch and enable this and target this to your devices, users, and such as well. E-discovery, so if you're a bank or like government and you're very much in the need for like doing forensic analysis or like things that are happening on the machine, we have that for Outlook or Exchange Online right now too, that you can put a mailbox in kind of forensic analysis like e-discovery mode. We have it for cloud PCs now too. So this is a service feature that is integrated, so no extra payment or whatsoever needed. If you go to your device settings in Intune, you can go to put this cloud PC under review. You can block access or allow access, but just pull a copy of the cloud PC and then download the VHD and then mount it to your machine or admin box or whatever you have. And look in that data and investigate what's going on there. So for like the finance sector, this was like a #1 request that we delivered on.
Mergers. What? Mergers and acquisitions.
Yeah, as well, yeah. So the other great thing is that you can pull that VHD and create a Hyper-V machine out of it, just spin it up and just use it like that too. So it's another option to consider. Intune Suite is supported with Windows 365, so EPM that you see here, with of course the acknowledgement of allowing installment without having local administrator rights. So it's all supported. we just did an episode, Matt, Mike, Dilip, or Matt Chapel. So if you're like familiar with those folks, they're in an episode. So if you go to ak.ms like Windows in the Cloud, there's an episode there, just free. You can watch it. It goes in Windows 365, Ancient Suite, Enterprise App Management, everything very deeply. It's a great episode. Great traction on that as well in the community. We released this last week. Another thing, I wrote a book together with Per Larson 2.5 years ago called Mastering Map. Great success, 15,000 copies sold or something. We're now doing the second edition of that. So it has Ancient Suite, Copilot, so Security Copilot, Ancient Suite, Advanced Management capabilities, the EPM, everything covered here. As well, Windows 365, so everything I just explained from a configuration perspective is all covered here. Steve, we might all know Steve. Steve is the president, VP of Intune. He writes forward together with my boss, Scott Manchester. So if you're interested, you can just look it up on Amazon. It's all available there. So closing this presentation. So what's next? I already alluded to a little bit, and I can't share like everything in terms of the roadmap, but think beyond the operating system. So everything you just saw are still a little bit separate management objects. The operating system is still Windows 11. Think beyond that. Think about more consolidated experiences coming there as well. For device, OS, all come together as one. And that's kind of where I want to leave you with. And before I move to Greg, I have another book called Mastering Windows 365 that I wrote and released in September during the Workplace Ninja event. So great book, great traction on that too. I want to give one away. So I said during the Satya quote, I said, which event Windows 365 was announced? Who knows the answer? Raise your hand, you get a book. Where? Windows 365, where is that announced? Which event, which Microsoft event?
Ignite?
No, not Ignite. I'll give you a hint, it's a partner event.
Partner.
No, it's a Microsoft event.
Somebody in chat said Inspire.
Yeah, that's the right answer, but then we need to ship the book.
I'll make sure they get it.
Is a colleague of yours, sir? Or no? No, I thought you were getting it. You said I will make sure you do it.
Different question.
I will make sure you get a book shipped, so if you can pass. Then we have another one for somebody in the room here, so I will make it easy. What's Greg's favorite pizza?
Not vegetarian.
Yeah, I will come that as the right answer.
We're talking the meat with the side of meat guy.
Yeah. One of them that I ordered today is called the Puget Pounder. That's it.
Oh, yes. So with that, thanks remotely as well, folks. I'm not sure where the camera is, somewhere down here. And folks here, great to be here, and maybe I will come back at some point. It's really close, no travel expenses whatsoever. So thanks, and enjoy your weekend. Hopefully see you somewhere soon.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Christiaan.